Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call this, are we ready? Oh, okay, go ahead and call Senate Committee on Revenue to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Buck. Here. Senator Danyate. Here. Senator Severs-Gansert. Here. Senator Spearman. Here. Chair Neal.
All right, committee, we're here for our work session document, SB 394. I will turn it over to Mr. Tower.
Thank you, Chair. Christian Tower, Fiscal Analysis Division for the record. On work session today is Senate Bill 394. The work session document is up on NALIS, available to the public, and copies of the work session document are available in this room. Senate Bill 394 revises provisions governing property tax levied for the support of public schools. The bill is sponsored by the Senate Committee on Revenue and Economic Development and was heard on April 11th. Senate Bill 394 imposes an additional property tax rate of 10 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation for the support of the public school system. Senate Bill 394 further requires certain information regarding taxes imposed for the benefit of K-12 education to be listed separately on the individual tax bills received by property owners. To the amendment, at the bill hearing on April 11th, Senator Neal proposed an amendment to the bill that would remove its current language entirely and replace it with language prohibiting the Governor's Office of Economic Development from approving any tax abatements where the projected value of the abatement to a single entity exceeds $500,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or on the work session document? Senator Gansert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a gut and replace, and it provides a cap on what GOED can approve as far as tax abatements. Is that correct?
Correct. It's codifying SB 181 because I believe that GoEd should now start to focus on smaller businesses instead of giving away millions of dollars.
Thank you. And I don't know if they have a current cap. I was thinking that what is in statute, it's a question of eligibility, and if they're eligible, then there's a variety of abatements that they can have, and it can be modified business tax, it can be property tax, it can be all sorts of different things. And so I guess two questions. Is there currently a cap at all? And is the proposed $500,000 on, the cumulative, or the total sum of all abatements potentially that could be approved that are currently in statute for which companies are eligible?
I'll answer the second question. The intent is to have a cumulative of all abatements not exceed 500K, and then I'll have Mr. Nakamoto address number one.
Madam Chair, Michael Nakamoto for the record. Could you repeat the question for my benefit, please?
Thank you. Yes. And so right now we have criteria set in statute for which a company could be eligible, and it could be modified business tax, it could be property tax, it could be, there's a variety of taxes that are eligible for abatement. And I don't think we have any caps on them. I think basically if you're eligible, you get certain percentages for 10 years, potentially 20 years based on your investment in the employees and how much the average rate of pay, and that you provide health insurance and so forth. And so my first, I guess one of my questions was, and I think the chair answered one of the questions, which was this would cap the total amount that GOED can approve on its own. And so do we have any caps on those types of abatements for which GOED can approve? And then I'm going to add another question. If this is the cap, then where else do they go if they want to get abatements that are in excess, total abatements in excess of $500,000 for certain businesses?
I know I can add one part to this. So the effect of this language would be this cap would repeal existing authority, and any additional ask that exceeded this amount, they would then have to get legislative approval from us. So it's my way of reverting it back to the legislature for anything that's 2 million, 5 million. They would then, GOED would then have to each time bring a BDR to the legislature for anything above that amount.
And then to add to that, this is Michael Nakamoto for the record, to Senator Seavers Gansert's original question. Right now, to the extent that the entity would be eligible for abatements, there is no maximum. The legislation that the chair referred to, Senate Bill 181, currently it addresses the threshold by which or how it needs to be approved by GOED. Under current law, if the projected value of the tax abatements is below $250,000, then the executive director of GOED may approve it on behalf of the office. If it's above $250,000, then it goes to the GOED board. But that is the only restriction right now. There is no maximum that could be approved by GOED. It's as long as they meet the eligibility, they would receive the abatements based on the eligibility criteria and in statute.
Thank you, and if I can follow up, I think Mr. Nakamoto just said if it's over 250, then it has to go to the GOED board, but I think that we have a bill that Senator Pizzina has sponsored to make that 500,000, so.
Michael Nakamoto, for the record, Senator Seavers Gansert, that is correct.
Okay.
SB 181 is the bill that would increase that threshold to the
Got it.
500,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Senator Spearman, just really quick, because the intent of this, based on legal, is that my conversation or my intent was that I wanted the legislature to get control over the abatements that were going out without us. And this is a way to bring those decisions back to the legislature so that we can decide as a whole whether or not those are good for us to continue. And so this cap, basically, that's essentially what it will do. And then it does codify SB 181 from Senator Pizzina. And then Senator Spearman.
Yeah, so mine is more of a comment or a question too. So, but the clawback provisions still remain. And one of the things that I noticed this session is that we're constantly trying to figure out where money comes from. And sometimes people get abatements and they don't necessarily do what they said they were going to do. So.
Thank you, Chair Neal. So I'm sorry if I'm confused, but isn't this then the exact opposite of what Pizzina's bill is saying? Or in conflict?
No. So Senator Neal, for the record, no, because hers was going up to 500K, and it says to not exceed 500K. And then any other decision that is beyond 500K, a piece of legislation would have to be created by GOED in order to come and deal with any additional abatement. They would have to then come with a BDR saying we have this particular entity and then we're going to do we're asking for $10 million, but it will allow the legislature to then make that decision.
So this will basically stop every other year big businesses from moving here. What other states do this?
What other states control how their abatements go out? Mr. Nakamoto, do you know that? I mean, I know there's a few.
Michael Nakamoto, for the record, from the Fiscal Analysis Division. Senator Neal, I do not have the answer to as to what other states are doing with respect to this sort of control.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make big business that pay into our tax system eventually. I'm trying to encourage that, so I'm more than likely going to be a no on this.
I expected that. So Senator Neal, for the record, ultimately, right, the conversation about Tesla 2 and the large abatement that was happening without the legislature being involved in that decision and the actual tax impact to the state ultimately ends up being a loss of revenue. Economic diversification is still something that I support. However, I want the legislature to be back in the seat of determining what is the appropriate amount of abated taxes that should go to a corporation. At this point in time, there could be, as we noted, roughly over $70 million, $300 million abated, and we would have no say in how that abatement works. So I recognize that not everybody can be in support, but I want to make sure on the record, I support economic diversification. We have to move in a space where we start getting control over how much revenue is being abated from the state, knowing that we have other needs that we need to take care of, and the decision is no longer ours, as it has not been for 10 years. All right, so I will take a motion, or did you have additional? No.
I'll just make comments.
Okay. So I have a first from Senator Dignate, second from Senator Spearman. Any comments on the motion?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. And, you know, our economic development statutes and the creation of GOED, the changes were related to trying to expedite the process where you can get abatements. And I know former Governor Sandoval and now Governor Lombardo are highly interested in making sure that we have businesses that come to our state and that we can support them and respond to them and put deals on the table, because we're competing with other states all the time to get some of the large projects here. And I think we've seen great success in northern Nevada with diversification, and I know there's a lot of work to be done in southern Nevada. And usually these companies are on a timetable, and so I think I'm not going to support this legislation. It's not because I don't think we should change some things around our economic development statutes, but I think that's what we need to change: is who's eligible, why are they eligible, how much do they get for what the duration may be. But I don't want to slow down the process, because that can be the deal breaker. It may not be what we can offer on the table. It may be we can't give them a response, and I don't think the Governor's Office of Economic Development can meet till we wait until we meet every other year to be able to get an answer. And I do recognize that sometimes when we have very large projects like Tesla or like the Raiders, we do have a special session. But I think we need to allow GOED to have the flexibility to be able to respond to opportunities that arise, so that they can continue their diversification efforts. So I'm going to be a no on the bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And I also want to make one additional comment. So when I was having conversations with LVGEA, one of the missed opportunities are mid-sized businesses, mid-sized to small, and what we offer there. I also feel very strongly about the flexibility, right? But at the end of the day, one of the largest concerns and public statements that came out after the Tesla 2 deal was that we need to stop abatements, and that the legislature needed to have more control over the size. So although meeting every 2 years would be problematic, there is no legal pathway for this to come under our interim finance committee. And so that's why this was the proposed method. And so I'm putting that on the record so I can make this record clean for the work session. And I'm assuming Senator Buck, you have a comment? Or it's just a no? Okay. With that, I will, all in favor of the work session document with the amendment of SB 394, I will accept and amend and do pass. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Okay, so we have 2 nays. The motion passes with the majority of the committee, SB 394. All right, with that, we will open up for public comment. No? Oh, I'll give it to me. So is there anyone here in public comment? BPS, is there anyone on the line for public comment?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Okay, so with that, we will go ahead and adjourn Senate revenue.